Perfect. I'm going to run through a bit more about us as a company, just give you a little bit more insight around what I was talking about there from an agile perspective, give you a bit of insight around the future of retail, because I think, like I said before, it's this exciting area and there's so much happening and it's constant change. So why? What does that mean? Should we be scared of constant change, or should we take this innovation and go with it? I'll talk about that, and then obviously just a bit more about careers at TWG as well. So this is me. I know I introduced myself before, but I've currently been 7 years in the head office now at this stint that I've had, but I actually have worked in store for 5 years and also managed a toy shop actually for 2 years. So I've had retail in my blood ever since the beginning of Where It Fits. And like I say, it is addictive. You come back into it as well. And now I have this amazing team where we can bring people into the business. So the Warehouse Group, we're New Zealand's largest generalist retailer. We actually also have, the two key big distribution centres, but we've actually got 6 distribution centres across the country as well. In terms of our strategy and our vision, so our vision is to build a company that delivers long-term sustainable profit growth. That's keeps changing, in terms of sort of where we eventually want to go. That sustainability piece of that sentence is the bit that wants us to keep moving forward. So we're the third major retailer to go carbon neutral, and we're just pushing more and more into that area of things as well. Over 98% of New Zealanders actually shop at one of our warehouse brands. We have the warehouse store in roughly half an hour space between everybody and where they live. And our retail sales are actually over 3 billion at the moment as well. So our values, we've got 3 main values that we look at. So think customer, do good, and own it. And those are things that no matter what brand shirt, whether it's warehouse stationery, Noel Leeming, everybody has the same values underneath it. So putting our customers first, doing good in terms of our community, our planet, our people, and then also owning it. So we walk the talk and we make things happen. But overall, we're here for our overall purpose of helping Kiwis live better every day. No matter what type of product, where it fits, how can we be there for everyday Kiwis? This is just a little bit of detail actually. So 2021, our FY 2021, so if we look sort of back a little while ago now, so it's actually just before the last lot of lockdowns, but it's information that I can obviously share. So $3.4 billion of sales, 2 million customers sort of visit every week. We actually get 3 million virtual visits. If you look at online growth, and we'll talk a little bit about it later on, but 21% growth in click and collect before even August, and it's continued to go there. And that's a big change for retail since we've had that COVID side of things come through as well. We raised 4.3 million for charities. That's down a little bit compared to normal. We normally hit about that 5 million mark, just obviously the current environment and things through there as well. We've got 11,500 products that have sustainable features, and we're pushing more in there as well, and continuing to reduce our carbon emissions in there as well. Some fun facts. So that was FY21. Now, if we look at our next half year results, more recently, even things like we were talking about the distribution centre would say there as well. And, devanning 5,287 containers. It's huge when you think about that from a distribution perspective. We've put 1 million products in bilingual. So Te Reo really getting it out there in terms of our labelling and pushing all of that through there as well. The red bags that you see in our warehouse stores, so every dollar goes straight to charity. So $1.2 million straight to charity for everyone that's bought a red bag in there as well. Some other random things, I'm not going to go through them all, but really interesting. You can see the volumes and the numbers of things that were going out there. I mean, 2.1 million plants, 24,000 bikes, all within a 6-month period of things there as well. And this is despite the fact that we were closed for 84 days of the year. So the scary thing is that from a retail perspective of what COVID has done with us and everything that you've got, we still go through all of these products and we still have to manage it. And we've still got to get through all of those areas around it all. So that's a bit about us. Let me chat to you a bit about our agile way of working. So the agile side of things fits a little bit more into our support office side of the business rather than necessarily in our stores, although in our stores, they still do a lot of the agile principles just without really calling it agile as much. So daily stand-ups, for example. But what agile means is and why we went into agile. So first of all, we wanted to go, actually, how can we be better? How can we be faster at achieving things? How can we keep up good standards? And how can we do the best things for our customers? We'd have different ideas come through, people thinking things, and then it would take 6 months before you go and do it. What agile does is it goes, actually bring it in, test and trial, start small and just work on one thing, get that out the door. Don't work on 10 things that take you 10 times as long to get something done. So it's that faster execution. And that's what we're seeing and why we've moved into agile. So you take away this hierarchy and you take away the silos. So instead of having to you sit in one finance team or you sit in the buying team, and then you've got to go and talk over here, and then you've got to go here and you have 10,000 meetings. What we've done now is you actually go, all of those, you get one person from each department in one team. So you don't need to go and have 10 different meetings to come up with a solution. You just get the team to have one meeting and you come up with solutions and you learn, and you can be empowered and innovate and learn a lot quicker with it all. So it's about bringing individual teams and bringing people into a cluster of different makeups within a team. So quite a different way of thinking. And it just brings that ideation, it brings that collaboration all in place. So teamwork, collaboration, fear of failure, you don't have that because you want to give it a go. And you're not fearing that 8 months of work will go down the track. You're testing after 2 weeks of work. Did it work or not? So it's a lot faster and you can get the results quicker. What it does mean, and I know I'm talking really fast, but I want to try and get through as much as possible, and then we can, if there's any questions at the end, but our agile structure looks a bit like this, which is totally different to a hierarchical structure. So we don't have the 9 layers anymore. We've only got 3 layers. And that's where I mean by your development and your growth doesn't come from a title. It comes from your reach across the business. It comes from your responsibility depth instead, which is where you can really grow. So instead of having each department, like a buying department and a marketing department, an e-com department, we now have tribes. So for example, one might be clothing. And within that clothing, you would then have little teams that focus on children's, men's, women's. And within each of those teams, you would have one marketing, one buying, one planning, one store operations, for example. So you've got everybody with different skills and different crafts coming together for one main delivery. So it really makes them come in together to work together to move forward. Who do you report to is then a lot of the questions that we get, but instead of reporting with all these people having the different crafts, they all report from a delivery perspective to somebody who we call a tribe lead or a product and also a product owner. But you can still work across. So your craft becomes across. So Mary, Bob, Joe, Billy all work across in marketing, but all across different tribes. And then they will still come together as a craft to develop their craft and their skills within that area. And then we have support functions. So finance, HR are the 2 main support functions. So we will support the tribes moving forward in terms of where it is. It is different before I flick into the other side. So it is quite a different way of working. And it does take a little bit of getting around, but we've got videos and more details on our careers website. So if this is something that you want to learn more about, please do jump in there and it'll give you a lot of detail as well. But it's once you've worked in this type of collaborative true collaborative style. It's hard to go back to hierarchy, I must say. Yeah. So the future of retail and why I'm obsessed by retail and why so many people within retail have this passion is that it's just constantly transforming. There's just digital transformation all the time. You know, before even COVID, it was Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, and now just COVID-19, there's just so many different things that have come up. So some stats just to sort of let you know, like e-com sales, so the online e-com sales have hugely increased. So 4.9 trillion US dollars worldwide. So it's pretty much 20% of retail sales is all online. And that's huge compared to where they actually thought things were going to increase. So you need to make sure as a business, and for those moving into retail, no matter where it fits, is making sure that we've got, you know, you've got different retail channels for people to go into, that you're embracing everything. I mean, AI, you know, those customer experiences, everything you think of, you need to be a step ahead and think. I mean, now people are expecting things to be at your front door straight away. You know, so you've got to make sure that your logistics and your supply chain, for example, is really good to make that happen. And stores will no longer be that primary area. You know, you need to think differently. Alibaba, they now have a car vending machine. Who would have thought a car vending machine? Done on the sales type of pictures at a sales thing, you want to go try something else, let me take a car for a test drive, choose which one I want, and then bring it back. You don't have those other things in there as well. They also have delivery that they can bring out to you straight away, and a whole load of different examples through there. Amazon Go, you can literally walk into an Amazon Go shop, not pay, and walk straight out. Why? Because it knows exactly what you're picking up and how much that costs, and it automatically charges your phone. How crazy is that? A few years ago, you never would have thought that that would have happened. In our Noel Lemming store, our very own Nola is a digital shopping assistant, and actually one of the first digital shopping assistants to really be like this. So it was awesome that that was a New Zealand thing out of everybody from a global perspective as well. And then you got things like pop-up stores will keep being around. Digital and supermarkets will start to be, this is already overseas, but will start to be more and more. You know, you can maybe have a look at different recipes that you can bring on. Digital and apparel retailers, so having different things in there, looking at what the different colors might be, or they don't have this color, then they order straight away on the screen, and you can get things, you know, through different, either sent directly to you or sent to the stores or anything like that. And then just that virtual reality, that VR side of things, so is becoming more and more. We had a buyer come in the office, or a supplier come in the office the other day with exactly this. I saw them sitting looking through the VR with them showing them their new product through a VR machine. So absolutely happening all the time. And our distribution centre, again, massive distribution centre. That's our South Island distribution centre. Our North Island is 2.5 times the size of that one. And then you can see literally the other two photos are the North Island, where you can see the different stuff that's coming through. And even this area here, so much more automation coming across on where it fits. Supply chain's an interesting one. I won't go into too much detail, but obviously it's a huge factor for retail. You know, one of the other industries that's really struggled in terms of the COVID situation has been hospitality. But the difference with retail is that shipping costs are going up. So actually getting products, getting, you know, the delays in cargo, all of that is really tough. Staff shortages, there's no matter where you look at the moment, there's not enough people to do all of these different things as well. And then just the constant need to constantly upgrade the digital capabilities of businesses. So if you can, jump into the careers website of us, so twgcareers.co.nz. We've got a whole bunch of different, actually I need to update that slide, but there's another drop down that shows you all about the different parts of our business that you can learn about as well. And then just to sort of finish on a couple of things, if you are applying, and it loops back into what we were talking about before, there's 3 main things that we look for, but also that you know, for you bringing your best selves to work, for thinking what type of role you want. These are still three really good things to think about. So your mindset, what type of environment do you want to be in? How do you want to be? So for us, we want the curiosity, we want that test and learn, we want innovation, we want team players. For that delivery, you know, being able to say, yep, I want to deliver, or why didn't I deliver? And being able to sort of meet some of those smaller deliverables to make it easier to reach, but also having that flexibility. Something didn't work, it's okay, let's start again. How can we keep going forward? And then your craft is really your area of expertise. So how can you demonstrate in interviews, or how can you bring that in, or show the attitude or attributes that you want in order to develop a craft in a certain area. And I think that this is just sort of running through some areas, you know, being tech savvy, being change resilient, you know, those digital smarts, from an attitudes perspective, that again, that resilience, that curiosity, showing that growth mindset and openness, you know, flexibility, all of that is super important in pretty much any role that you look for. We've got a variety of different things that that we do internships and grad programs for, but I'll stop there, come back onto it, because I know I have spoken quite quickly, but obviously just to see if there's some questions or anything else that's come through. And I think there are a couple. So
yep, yes,
do we still
Kim,
have time? Yeah.
Yep, definitely. We can go ahead and answer a couple of questions. First one is, being in retail, do you also offer hybrid work setup or work environment? Probably because in retail industry, most of the time it's face-to-face with customers. So
yeah, it's a great question, you know, and flexibility and or that hybrid working is so important at the moment. It's actually surprising how many businesses are going back now to full-time office work. So no, we've definitely got a flexible policy. So two sides to it. We've got hybrid, so support office, you can work, normally it's 2 days at home, work from home. And you can also, it can be a bit more dependent. We've also got some people working out of Auckland that then come to the Auckland office, or work from stores as well. In our stores, yes, you're right, you've got to be there, you've got to be in your shifts in the store to work. But so instead of hybrid working, it's more flexible working. So you know, part-time hours as well as full-time hours. We've got extended leave. We've got great parental leave benefits. There's a whole lot of other things that wrap around that flexibility in terms of benefits.
thank you, Kim. And then the other question is, are there any specific degree or qualifications required for the open opportunities? It has been shared that in the Grad New Zealand page, there are about 3 opportunities available for fresh graduates. Are you requiring a specific degree or qualification?
Yeah, we've it's going to scare you, but we've got about 500 odd vacancies open at the moment across our business. That's just great. Purely because of obviously across the country. But in terms of some specific ones, it really depends. So out in stores, no. If it's something like a finance role where you need to be CA qualified, then yes. For HR, for example, if you're studying it, you don't have to have a degree. If you've got experience, it can come in. For my team, none. I'm open to people learning and bringing it in. So it depends on the actual role, on where it fits. Some things like our marketing and data and insights, those types of things, like having e-commerce degrees, marketing degrees, finance degrees, those types of things are very helpful. So they will help and lift you up in terms of those areas, because you've got that understanding from either, you know, internships or co-op programs that you might have done that can come in there, but from other positions, not necessarily. So it just depends on the department. But if you've got degrees, for most people that are probably listening here today, highlight them, you know, things that you've done in there, the projects that you've done, especially those support office roles, definitely highlight what you've done and all the work you put into it.
Thank you, Kim. That's awesome. A lot of opportunities for our students. And just to piggyback on that, do you also are you also open to hiring Polytech and institution students apart from university graduates?
Absolutely, yeah, totally. I mean, in terms of you know, we've got bike mechanics, bike builders with our TupuToa 7 that often, you know, people are with experience there or wanting to learn, develop are great in that area too. We've got, you know, unis, politics, all sorts across the country. Our support offices in Auckland, but all the other areas, there's different distribution centres or stores that'll pick things up too. So yeah, 100%.
Great, that sounds good. That's exciting for our politics students also joining us today. And one last question: is there any continuous learning for new employees or training that we provide, especially for those who are not in the retail probably degree to start off?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's just constant training. So we've got an online, excuse me, we've got an online tool that we have built our own training. So if you go into a specific area, there's specific craft trainings. And then we have what we call Udemy, which is also has this massive amount of training courses on there. So for more general things, and then ones where we're kind of capturing a whole load. So if you're in marketing or digital e-com, what are the things that are going to help you develop? And so it pushes all of that together and supports you in those ways as well. So internal mobility, internal movement, but also all of those external sources as well. And we do quite a lot, like we're fully open to people looking at external training or development as well. So we've got training funds that if people are studying with us and wanted to go and do another degree, we'll help support them, for example.
That's awesome. It allows fresh graduates to add additional skills for their career growth and career development as well. So
Totally.
glad to hear that, Kim. And just checking if there are any questions that our participants might be asking. But yeah, we really appreciate your time, Kim, and for taking the time to join the panel session and also presenting to our students today. Any last few words that you might want to say to aspiring applicants in the session?
Yeah, no, thank you obviously for having us. I know I sped through really quickly on a lot of things. So I think the biggest thing was, if you're interested in us, please jump on our careers website, learn more about the different areas. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or anything like that. I'm more than happy to give some more detail too. But at the end of the day, be you, bring yourselves to work, be proud of what you've done or where you want to move to. Highlight those things that you've, like the studies that you focused on, any key projects that you focused on when applying for positions, and read into what the business is like. So if you're looking out there, just really look at their values and their commitments and all those types of things to see if it aligns with what you believe in and also with where you're wanting to move in your career. But I wish you everybody all the very best.